I'm going to talk about a little bit more about vision today. I think vision casting is really important. But also, in the season that we're in right now, have you found yourself maybe more deeply devoted to your self-care practices, maybe more self-aware of your health and well-being, of your mental health? Have you found yourself to be more conscientious and maybe considerate of other people's health and well-being? And also relationships. Have you been more mindful of the types of relationships you have in your life, the quality of them, how many you have, the time you invest into them or don't invest? Do you recognize that you are a giver or a taker? Is there a balance? Hold on, let me get Toby's toy. This is too loud to play with right now. Because what I've found, someone I've been listening to a lot right now, her podcast is a woman named Danielle Laporte. I really I've been a fan of her for years, but right now her latest podcast series is called Grace for Impact, and I found these to be really helpful. She kind of riffs a little bit over certain topics, and I found them to be really helpful. Gosh, hold on. Toby's latest favorite toy is Christmas gift boxes under my bed, so that's fun. Okay, Danielle Laporte. So I found her podcast really helpful. And one of the things she said that rang true for me is talking about considering the season that we're in right now, which is clearly a difficult season still, and I think a lot of us are quite tired of the stimulation, tired of the changes, tired of just trying to figure out the changes that we're going through personally. I'm sure that we are probably even more deeply devoted and connected to the things that we need to make us feel good, to our own personal needs, in comparison to when we're going through a season of life where things are just pretty smooth sailing, pretty good. Like pre-COVID, I was much less devoted to my meditation practice, to journaling. I wasn't seeking out joy and gratitude and laughter and paying as much attention to the quality of relationships and friendships I had as before. Oh, thanks, Court. It's new. It's the filter as well. Well, I'm also tan. So I feel like that is really helpful for me to commit to moving forward with that same deep connection and commitment to myself. Like every single day, I'm like, what can I do? Courtney's distracting me. What can I do when we maybe move into a season or a flow in life? Hey, Nathan, where things are pretty easy and, you know, I'm watching New Girl right now on Netflix, me and my sister, and it's like it's so funny, but I probably wouldn't have committed to just watching an episode a day just for the laughter and the release, just to being like, I want to make sure that I laugh today, or meditation, making sure I focus on breathing deeply, or going for walks with Toby. Like, these are little things, and I just have put so much effort into making sure that I get them done, and I'm putting energy and focus there because there's so much less happening in the world. Like, I don't get to teach my students yoga in person. I don't get that connection. I don't get to see their face. I don't get to see them move my body and what that joy that brings. Like, that's not available to us still. And so in what ways can we replace it? And in what ways can we pay attention to the little things that can bring us joy and gratitude all the time? So maybe that brings something up for yourself. In what ways can you look for those things for yourself? And can you commit to continuing these deeper practices as the months roll on? Hopefully, cross your fingers, things start to get a little easier, or we just become a little more acclimated and adapted to it. Okay, next, vision. So vision has been a really big focus for me. It keeps coming up. So this is one of those things I'm sure you guys have experienced where someone says something, and then you're like, yeah, that makes sense, and then you hear it again, and then you hear it again, and it could be like a word. For me, it's a topic, vision. My friend brought it up to me. I'm like, yeah, I should probably do a little more digging into that. Yeah, I should probably write my vision. And then like all of a sudden I have resources and I have a journal and people keep bringing it up and blah blah blah, and now I feel way more educated on it, and it's just like I feel the universe is just slapping me in the face until it's like, you need to do this, you need to invite this practice into your life. So when it comes to vision, I have wrote down my vision. Some people like to record it as well, so there's two options. You could either record yourself saying your vision, or you could write it down. And what you're supposed to do, what you should do, is read it or listen to it in the morning, as soon as you wake up, and at night before you go to bed. That way you're starting your day with a purpose and a why, and you're reminding yourself why you get up every day, why you do your job, why you show up as a good human, why you take care of yourself. And I find it to be more motivating than just looking at my hard set goals. I can be like, oh yeah, in 5 years, this is what I want, right? Like, I'd like to one day stand on a stage and be a keynote speaker. So what can I do today? So like reading that every day and reminding myself, I'm like, I can practice speaking. I can get on a video, I can go live, I can chat with you guys. I could do videos with Emerge Mentoring, so I'm getting better at my speaking. And so that's a little bit more inspiring and motivating than writing out like a goal list, like I'm gonna do X number of videos, like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, that's more motivating. And vision also ignites a feeling, and feeling is really powerful, that emotion. So let's get maybe a little bit more specific on what your vision is. Vision can change, right? Like, my vision a year ago, it looks a little bit different than now. And your vision can be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, mix of both. Some of us, in the beginning, it might be easier to have a more short-term vision, like in maybe a month's too short. In like 6 months from now, this is what I want my life to look like, or something to look like. In a year from now, this is what I want my life to look like. And you want to get as detailed as you can. So think about when you were a child. We were way more creative and way more imaginative, and we just did it without any regrets. We just said whatever, we thought it whatever. And I really want us to start to tap into that, because it's important and it's kind of a skill, right? And it's something that we can get better at. So if you don't feel like you're super imaginative, you maybe start thinking and journaling and processing, and it might take a bit of time. So I wrote down my vision. I wrote it out a bunch of different times, and every time something new comes, but you want to be as specific as you possibly can. Like, if you want to live on the lakefront, for instance, what does your lakefront house look like? What color are the walls? Think about the things that you have in that house. What do they make you feel like? The relationships in your life. Let's say that you want to be married in 5 years, 10 years. Well, you don't have to get down to the detail on what that person looks like, but you could get detailed on how that person makes you feel, how you feel in that relationship. Do you want, like, type of career you want, for instance, the type of things you want to be studying, the team. Like, I think for myself, when I think about my career, in order for me to reach the career potential that I want, I know I'm going to need a team to support me. I'm going to need a team to back me up. And so what does that team look like? They're diverse. They make me feel supported. They're super talented. I love working with them. Those are feelings, and they're tactical, right? So your vision needs to be pretty detailed, and you don't have to put too much pressure on it. Like, it can change and adjust. If, like, right now you're like, I want to own a mansion in 5 years, and then like 3 months from now you're like, actually, I don't think I want to, it's totally fine. You can just change up that vision. But your feelings are important, how you want to feel. And that's kind of leads me back to Danielle Laporte. She's a really big resource for me. She has been for years, because as much as she is about self-help and spirit and business, her big thing over the years that I've really connected with is her desire map, and talking about your core desired feelings, and your feelings matter. Think about how you want to feel every day or in 5 years going forward. So let's wrap this up. So at the beginning, we talked a bit about, in a hard season, we spend a lot more time devoted to looking for happiness, doing what we can to make us feel better. And so let's commit to having that same amount of effort and devotion to caring for ourselves and caring for others when things are a little bit easier. So let's just promise that we're going to take as well a care of ourselves and our community and our neighborhood now as we do when COVID starts to be less of an impact in our life. And then second, we talked a lot about vision just now. So what I want you to do, if you're listening to this still, is to write down your vision of your life a year from now and 5 years from now. Don't overthink it. Nobody has to read this or see it, just you, and be as detailed as you can. And there's so much resource out there for vision. Like I said, ever since my friend mentioned vision, I've just been getting hit with so much content and podcasts and books and journals and stuff. So if you feel like you need some extra support on what vision casting is and how to do it, just reach out and I can send some resources your way. But I hope this is helpful. I think it's important that we have conversations, and that when we're learning things, when you're listening to podcasts or reading books or having conversations, that you take action. It's one thing to just, read and say that's an interesting thing, but to talk about it and break it down and share it with someone else and do the work behind it really makes it impactful and worth your time, and that's where the growth is. So if writing a vision of your life a year from now or 5 years from now is scary and uncomfortable, that's a good thing, and it probably should be. And I don't have any of those things, your vision, be off limits. Nothing is off limits. Anything is possible, no matter how weird and crazy and uncomfortable and scary that might seem to you. Focus on how you want to feel, and don't let anything be off limits, because you don't know what could happen, right? Who knew walking into 2020 that this would be the year that we got? You don't know, right? So nothing's off limits. Focus on how you want to feel. Write that vision out, and then after you write it, maybe you record it to yourself. If you don't want to hear your voice, then don't do it, but some people would just prefer to listen to it. And then I want you to read that vision to yourself in the morning and at night. At least one of the two. Start your day with that vision in mind, or end your day with that vision in mind. So I hope that's helpful. That's my post-workout messy bun chat of the day, chat of the week.